On behalf of the News First, the voice of the people, I'm Martin Satyanesan. Let's start off with a look at your headlines for this afternoon.
Blaze on board the Express Pearl to impact Sri Lanka's coastline for over 20 years. Will travel restrictions be extended beyond the 7th of June? 50,000 doses of the Russian Sputnik vaccine arrive in the island. Mayor of Moroto arrested for obstructing vaccination program. Food shortage for indigenous communities in Damana and Ratugala.
In a top story this afternoon, Moroto Mayor Saman Lal Fernando was arrested for obstructing the duties of state officers today.
Moroto Mayor Saman Lal Fernando was arrested by the police for obstructing the duties of a doctor and a team of medical staff during a vaccination program in Moroto. Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohan has said that the arrest had been made after the mayor had surrendered to the police while investigations into the incident were underway. The police said that special operations are underway to identify individuals who flout quarantine regulations. Drones and special motorcycle units are to be deployed for this purpose. Meanwhile, 829 individuals have been arrested during the last 24 hours for violating quarantine regulations. Police spokesperson DIG Ajit Rohan has said that this is the highest number of individuals to have been arrested for violating quarantine laws in a single day. The highest number of arrests yesterday were made from the Matale district, with the figure standing at 180. More than 15,000 individuals have been arrested so far for violating quarantine regulations. Accordingly, the police spokesperson has requested the general public to remain indoors and abide by the travel restrictions that are in effect.
Sri Lanka recorded 2,572 new COVID-19 infections yesterday, raising the total tally of cases up to 174,861. Official figures indicate that 29,774 infected individuals are under medical care. Health authorities confirmed 27 more COVID-19 deaths yesterday, with 4 deaths being reported during the day. According to the Department of Government Information, the remaining 23 deaths had been reported between the 22nd and the 26th of May. The deceased are aged between 42 and 93. 11 deaths had been reported from the Kalutara district, with the total death toll due to the virus standing at 1,325. The Health Ministry says that 143,789 individuals have been recovered from the infection thus far. A consignment of 50,000 doses of Sputnik vaccines arrived in the island from Russia last night.
The consignment arrived in the country from Russia through Dubai on board the EK2528 cargo flight of the Emirates Airlines. More than 100,000 Sinopharm vaccines are being administered in several areas, including Galle, Colombo and Mathura. Further, 50,000 doses of the Sputnik vaccine arrived in the country last night. Those doses will most likely be administered in the Kandy district from tomorrow. Meanwhile, the inoculation of the Sinopharm vaccine continued in Kurunegala, Galle and Mathura as well.
The Ministry of Health is yet to reach a decision on whether travel restrictions would be extended or relaxed beyond the 7th of June.
We are
conducting inquiries into the conduct of certain community leaders during vaccination programs. Whether a person is chosen as a beneficiary of the vaccine or not will not have an impact on the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. It is important to vaccinate everyone.
It has been 8 days since a fire erupted on board the Express Pearl vessel, which was anchored in the outer harbour of the Colombo port. According to the Marine Environment Protection Authority, although the blaze has been largely controlled, minor flames have been observed on board the vessel during regular intervals. The Sri Lanka Ports Authority said operations are underway to douse the blaze on board the vessel completely.
Retired General Dayaratnayake, the chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority, says that further steps regarding the vessel can only be decided once the team of experts have observed the situation on board the vessel. The vessel is currently floating 9.5 nautical miles northwest of the Colombo port. Although the fire has been controlled, the vessel has been completely destroyed. The General Manager of the Marine Environment Protection Authority, Dr. Turni Pradeep Kumar, revealed that despite previous requests from 2 ports to repair a chemical leak in the vessel, they had been rejected. He added that debris from the containers which have fallen overboard are currently washing up ashore. Operations.
A severe marine destruction has taken place. However, the MIPA, in collaboration with many institutes, including the Army, Disaster Management Center and the Central Environment Authority, are taking steps to limit the destruction to a minimum. We have not observed an oil leakage so far, but we are vigilant of it. What we can deduce from this is either the soil has burned as a result of the fire or the fire still has not reached the oil storage. We need to board the vessel to confirm the fact. However, we cannot board the vessel as of now. The destruction could have far-reaching consequences up to 20 years. Although most marine ecosystems will adapt, certain sensitive systems will be impacted negatively.
Meanwhile, multiple reports have emerged that indigenous communities in Damana and Ratugala are currently experiencing a paucity of food.
Our correspondent reported that indigenous communities are facing a shortage of food owing to the current situation in the country. Indigenous leader of Ratugala, Sudha Wanila met with the leader of the Damana indigenous community, Uruwarige Wanila to apprise him of the shortage. The residents of these areas have been badly affected, especially given the restrictions that have been imposed due to the COVID-19 pandemic in the country.
Also in local news, the third power generator of the Nurechole power plant has been temporarily shut down. The chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Vijita Herath, said the generator has been shut down due to maintenance. Meanwhile, 2 officers attached to the Anuradhapura police were injured after being stabbed by 2 suspects using sharp weapons during a raid.
The police had carried out a raid last evening upon receiving information that dairy heifers were being stolen in the Alutlam area. The raid to arrest the suspects had been launched by the crime branch officers of the Anuradhapura police. But a suspect who had attempted to abduct the dairy heifers with another individual had attacked 2 police officers and the informant during the raid. The 2 police officers and the informant, who sustained critical injuries, are currently receiving treatment at the Anuradhapura hospital. However, the 2 suspects have been arrested by the police and are currently being held in custody while receiving treatment at the intensive care unit of the Anuradhapura Teaching Hospital.
Multiple allegations have been levelled against the relief pack worth 10,000 rupees distributed among residents in the Mahayangana Divisional Secretariat. Residents allege the relief pack does not include sufficient goods.
According to residents, the relief pack, which is supposedly worth 10,000 rupees, only consists of goods worth 6,000 rupees. The matter had come to light following a probe carried out by the Divisional Secretariat on the Grama Niladhari of the Mahayangana Divisional Secretariat, pursuant to a complaint made regarding him by area residents. Divisional Secretary of Mahayangana, Sanjay Prasad Veerasinghe, said the relevant officer has been suspended from his duties. While an inquiry is underway over the relevant official, steps have been taken to provide the items which have been removed from the relief pack. Residents claim a 1 kilogram packet of milk powder, 1 salmon tin, soap and other food items have been removed from the relief pack.
Tea planters in the Mihiga Kuwal area in the Badulla district are facing various hardships due to the shortage of fertilizer.
Tea planting is the main livelihood of locals in the Pitamaruwa, Diggala, Suryagulla, Watagommana, Ambagaharawa, Hewalthanna, Wavathanna, Diggommana, Kahatagasthanna, Palle Arua and Kaluwal areas. More than 1,000 tea planters and small-scale estate owners depend on the tea industry to earn a living. But the shortage of fertilizer to cultivate tea has drowned the hopes of these individuals. Cultivators say that the shortage of fertilizer has diminished hopes of reaping the expected harvest. The request of these individuals is a feasible solution to this problem.
Revisiting one of your headline-making stories regarding the Express Pearl vessel, Newsfirst Ravindu Jayakodi is standing by at the Sarakua beach in Negombo to report on the damage caused to the coast of Sri Lanka due to the fire that erupted on the Express Pearl vessel.
We are currently in the Sarakua beach in the Pamunugama area where many of the debris from the Express Pearl ship have washed ashore. Now, speaking today morning, the chairman of the Port Authority, General Daya Ratnayaka, confirmed that the fire on board the ship has been fully contained and the authorities there are now trying to pump the water to the front portion of the ship so that they can get on board the ship and assess the real situation. While the operations there are going in that manner, here in the beach, the efforts are still continuing to clean away these debris of these beaches. Now, to know in-depth analysis of this situation and the impact that has created from this disaster, we are joining with Dr. Palita Kitsiri, the Director General of the Nara Institute. Doctor, what sort of an impact has this disaster caused to the marine life, to this ecosystem?
No, actually, it was reported that there are many chemical components as well as organic compounds in the ship. I think last 2-3 days period, they were discharged, mainly the nitric acid or ethyl alcohol and also the cosmetic related chemicals as well as the organic compounds like plastic pebbles, low density polyethylene. They were discharged into the sea and then ultimately they came into the shore now. Then this is a very serious issue. This is not degradable for a 25-30 years period. This plastic pebbles remain at it is for a period of long time. Then that is very much effect to the natural environment. Then as soon as possible we have to remove all these plastic pebbles and make the beach clean. Otherwise there is a serious issue. In addition to that, actually NARA has been given a task to prepare a damage assessment report, and NARA has been given to assess the biological damage to the environment. Then at present I have that identify and that release 2 groups of scientists to carry out the study from Colombo to Chilau and also Colombo to Panadura area. At present they are collecting the relevant samples as well as the other bio samples in those areas. In addition to that, due to the bad weather conditions, we cannot go into the sea now. Once the sea conditions improve, we are planning to go into the sea and collect necessary samples, fauna and flora samples, and also we have to see what happened to the coral reef also. We are planning to scientifically assess all the things and planning to prepare a very comprehensive report on the damage to the biological environment.
Doctor, is there any sort of oil leakage from this vessel?
At present, as far as I know, there is no oil leakage. There is no oil leakage at present. We have to make arrangements to actually not to release this oil to the natural environment. At present, there is no oil leakage.
So that's the update we have from the Sarakua beach in Pamunugama. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ravindu Jayakodi.
In international news, China has denounced US efforts to further investigate whether COVID-19 came from a Chinese lab.
US President Joe Biden said he expects to release the results of an intelligence report on the origins of the virus. China's foreign ministry accused the United States of quote-unquote political manipulation and blame shifting. It has rejected any links between COVID-19 and a virus research lab in the Chinese city of Wuhan. COVID-19 was first detected in Wuhan in late 2019. Since then, more than 168 million cases have been confirmed worldwide and about 3.5 million deaths reported. Chinese officials linked early COVID-19 cases to a seafood market in Wuhan, leading scientists to theorize that the virus had first passed to humans from animals. The World Health Organization has said it is extremely unlikely that the virus spread from a lab leak, following a visit to Wuhan earlier this year to investigate the origins of the coronavirus outbreak. WHO virologist Marion Koopsman, who was part of the field visit, told foreign media that if the US authorities had any information, they would share it. But recent US media reports have suggested growing evidence that the virus could have emerged from a laboratory in China, perhaps through an accidental leak.
Meanwhile, the UN Human Rights Council has voted to investigate violence in the recent conflict between Israel and Hamas. The body approved the resolution brought by a group of Islamic countries by 24 votes to 9.
At least 242 people were killed in Gaza and 13 were killed in Israel during 11 days of fierce fighting that ended on the 21st of this month with an Egyptian brokered truce. The violence came after weeks of spiraling Israeli-Palestinian tensions in occupied East Jerusalem, which culminated in clashes at the holy site revered by both Muslims and Jews. Hamas began firing rockets into Israel after warning it to withdraw from the site, triggering retaliatory airstrikes from Israel on Gaza targets. The text of the resolution, brought by the Organization of Islamic Conference and the Palestinian delegation, calls for a permanent commission of inquiry to be set up to report on rights violations in Israel, the West Bank and Gaza. It calls for the investigation of, quote, all underlying root causes of recurrent tensions, instability and protraction of conflict, end quote.
Shifting your attention from international news to sports news, the third dead rubber ODI between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka is currently being played at the Shere Bangla Stadium in Dhaka. Sri Lanka won the toss and decided to bat first. Bangladesh have already claimed an unassailable 2-0 lead in the series. 4 changes have been made to Sri Lanka's lineup today with Niroshan Dikwala, Binura Fernando, Ramesh Mendis and Shamika Karunaratne handed ODI debuts. A short while ago, Sri Lanka were 19 without loss. And we leave you this afternoon with certain remarks expressed by the Director General of the World Health Organizations. For the News First Voice of the People, I'm Martin Satines, and you take care and stay safe.
18 months into the defining health crisis of our age, the world remains in a very dangerous situation. More cases have been reported so far this year than in the whole of 2020. No country should assume it's out of the woods, no matter its vaccination rate. So far, no variants have emerged that significantly undermine the efficacy of vaccines, diagnostics or therapeutics. But there is no guarantee that will remain the case. This virus is changing constantly. Future changes could render our tools ineffective and drag us back to square one. Every country can do more. Increase surveillance, testing, sequencing, sharing information, surge supplies needed to protect health workers, fight misinformation and disinformation, empower people and communities to play their part, support businesses and workplaces to take steps to open up safely where appropriate, implement national vaccination strategies, vaccinate those most at risk, and donate vaccines to COVAX. The pandemic is not over, and it will not be over until and unless transmission is controlled in every last country.